What if there were just two things you could do to make your financial future brighter? Well, today we're doing a special segment that's called Quick Financial Tips from Your Colleagues. And I have a very, very special guest here, Dr. Chris Mozdzanowski. Welcome, Dr. Chris.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
I am so happy that you're here. So, and to our other people who are listening today, welcome back to More Money Minutes for Doctors. I'm your host, Catherine Vesnes. I'm also the CEO and founder of MD Financial Advisors. So, before we get started, a couple quick things. If you've got further questions, you can always reach out to us at info@mdfinancialadvisors.com. And Chris, before we start talking about you and where you came from, our friends at the SEC have a very important question for me to ask you. Did I pay you anything, bribe you in any way, or put a gun to your head, or do anything to make you come on the podcast today?
No.
I'm so glad. I think that's one of the things I love about you is you're so generous with your time and your spirit. And I know you did this just because you want to help other doctors. So thank you.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit. I know you're emergency med and you've got another specialty and how long you've been in practice. So tell us about you.
Yeah, so I did emergency medicine, completed my emergency medicine residency in 2012, and then I stayed on and did a fellowship in undersea and hyperbaric medicine, which also involved quite a bit of wound care. So finished that in 2013, and I've been with practicing emergency medicine full-time and hyperbarics and wound care part-time since 2013.
Which is also the year that we started working together.
Yes.
And I really have to compliment you on how far you've come because it's been a wonderful experience. We've been so blessed to work with you, and you've done such a good job. So let's start with just a couple quick questions. Do you have two money tips for younger doctors? What would they be?
I think the first thing is to, attempt as much as you can to live below your means. Um, we're in school for a long time and we practice, there's a lot of delayed gratification. And if you can just extend that out a little bit more, it just makes a world of difference. So first would be to live below your means as much as you can. And I think second, to just prioritize saving. You know, like you will contribute to your 401k or your health insurance, right out of your paycheck. If you can have that happen right from the beginning, it's a lot easier to ensure that that saving happens as opposed to waiting till the end of the month and sort of seeing what's left over.
I think that's so true. If you take it out first thing, it gets done, and wait till the end of the month, there's nothing left, usually. Now, one of the decisions I thought you made early on that I was really proud of you for is a lot of our clients, they're so burnt out from residency and from fellowship and from being broke that they finish their training and they want to buy the new house. And back in the day when we started working together, it was BMWs. Everybody wanted a BMW. But I remember what you did is you moved your family to your grandmother's house. So you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I'd taken a job closer, back in the vicinity of where I grew up in New England, Western Massachusetts. Yeah, I mean, part of it was due to it was a new job and I wasn't, quite sure how it would go, if I would want to stay there long term. And so, yeah, we rented a family house. My grandmother was planning to move in with my parents anyways. She was in her 90s. And so, yeah, it made sense to rent and to figure out if we wanted to be back in the area, if we liked the job before we committed to buying a house.
I think that's awesome. Even though you grew up there, you thought you wanted to stay. I thought renting was great. Was great. A, it was less expensive, so it lets you get kind of a good foundation those first couple of years, and then you want to make sure that you really did want to be there in that area. So I thought that was some great decisions on your part. All right, are there two things that you would suggest to other doctors that they could do to make their financial life like easier or maybe simpler or less stressful? What two things would those be?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately it's to make a decision that your X amount of money is going to go toward savings, right? If there's some sort of plan and some kind of projection, um, you have to start small. And so Again, delaying gratification a little bit, making sure that you prioritize those things. And then I think try to resist the urge of those sort of impulse buys. Um, I'm married, I have 4 kids, and, we try to talk about even with the kids, they see something they want to buy it right away. And I sort of say, look, let's think about it for 3 days, or think about it for 5 days, or think about it for a week. If you still really want it after a week, then, we can make a decision to buy it with money that you already have, as opposed to making a purchase on money that you think you're going to have in a month, earmark money for that $5,000 purchase, save for it. Once you have the $5,000, then go and make that purchase. As opposed to being behind the 8 ball, money gets spent elsewhere. I don't really have that money to pay for it now, or when that credit card bill comes around, and that's just a recipe for disaster. So,
Oh, totally. Well, I think you're really saying 2 or 3 different things here that I just want to comment on. But I think when you have a plan, and to your point was you had a savings plan, then in some sense it goes on automatic pilot and it's just less stressful, right? You don't have to keep rethinking about it, right? Because you know what you're doing. You put your brain power onto other things. I really like that. I love the delayed gratification piece. I do that myself. I may see new clothes or something that I like, and I very often will not buy it. I'll wait a while and decide, am I still thinking about that thing 3 or 4 days later? And I would say 99% of the time, I'm not. I'm really glad I didn't spend the money then and kind of waste it on something that really wasn't that big to me. So I
yeah, I
think that's
think
really
those
cool.
things that you really want, they stick around, right? But most of those things fade away in that initial
You know,
rush
right.
to buy it or whatever.
And
Yeah.
then buying it with your own money as opposed to renting somebody else's money on a credit card, I think is another really important piece to your success. So that's great. All right, now I have another question. If you don't want to answer it, that's fine. And that is there anything you wish you'd done differently with your finances?
Um, I guess hindsight is 2020, so I suppose we'll see in 10 or 20 years, but um nothing that comes to mind. I mean, looking back, you can always say, well, I wish I had saved more here, or you think
Yeah.
about compounding interest and, oh, had I put a little more money earlier, probably would have been done, in my undergrad years, even, things like Roth IRAs or whatever that I didn't do in my late teenage years but, a few $1,000s when you're 18 or 19 is a huge amount of money. And so I probably really didn't have it to
No,
do at
I
that
would think
point.
that,
But
and unlike my own personal experiences where I've made tons of mistakes, which is part of what I like to bring to the table with clients, don't make this mistake. I honestly can't think of any mistakes that you've made. And it's very rare for me to say that about a client. So once again, kudos to you. I think you're doing such a great job. So thanks again for joining us today and sharing your time and your advice for other doctors. And to our listeners today, if you found this helpful, please pass it on to some colleagues because hopefully you can save them a lot of financial pain. And I'm more than happy to take your questions and topics for future issues of our podcast. Remember, if you do have questions, you can reach out to us at info@mdfinancialadvisors.com. And remember, only you can take care of yourself. So plan, protect, and prosper.
These statements are from a current client and may not be representative of the experience of other clients and do not guarantee future performance or success. The client has not been indirectly or directly compensated for this interview. MD Financial Advisors is not aware of any material conflicts of interest between this client and the firm. Additional information, including management fees and expenses, is provided on our Form ADV Part 2, available upon request, or at the SEC's Investment Advisor Public Disclosure website. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Feel free to reach out to us at info@mdfinancialadvisors.com or visit our website at mdfinancialadvisors.com.